All right, guys, welcome. Hey, hanging
Hello.
out off the clock with Tom Devlin. So, the rumors and the consensus always has it. Oh, you never sleep. You never stop going. You're always working, which is absolutely true. So I decided mandatory time off. We do 1 to 3 hour podcast every other day or so, and
Speaking of not sleeping, this whole room did not exist yesterday. I
that's
don't think
that
so.
is
This is
true.
this is awesome.
Yeah, this is a representation of what's in my brain of like the coolest hangout spot,
Oh, definitely.
You got like that wood paneling from the late 80s, early 90s. You're going to watch some Tales from the Crypt after your parents go to bed and kind of like hide in the basement. Yeah. That's how I felt. This is the environment that I tried to cook up. And so on Off the Clock, I will not be working, but hanging out with my friends, hanging out with Walid, hanging out
Howdy.
with Kayla, bringing in some other friends whenever we have them around. And I think we'll just talk shop and not talk shop so much that we're working, but talk shop so much that we are having a good time.
Yeah.
Just talking about hobbies, talking about life, talking about whatever. But the one thing that we're talking about working around the clock and talking about how we never do take a day off, but the last month of my life has been the most insane month that I've had in a long, long time, and that's because it's October, guys, and everybody knows I own the Monster Museum. And the Monster Museum picks up big time in October, and we got to do a lot of repairs and keep things clean. And but part of that was we made a movie at the beginning of this month called Bloody Bluff, which was fantastic. And this is a film that we tried to make a year ago, didn't work out. So we rewrote the script, reworked our idea, and turned it into a period piece. Walid sculpted this really cool monster, big Sasquatch beast, and then
Big old big face Yeti. Well, he's on a snow. We talked about having it in the snow, but
we were gonna do it in the snow, but it was the logistics. It was hard enough in the most perfect weather you could ever imagine, let alone in the snow. But so Walid sculpted the creature. I directed the film. All of our friends got together and we made this really awesome epic period piece. We got some good cameos in there. A little one from Butch Patrick. We had Mackenzie Westmore. And it was so much fun.
Yeah, it took a year from the original concept of it to get back to it, and in that year span, we traveled all the way back in time to colonial era.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
It's going to be fantastic. But that was the first week of October. And then we built this haunted house for the Boulder City Block Party, which was, the Boulder City Block Party is this really cool party we have here in town where I live in Boulder City, Nevada. And they have never done it in October, and they wanted to do it in October. They wanted to include the Monster Museum. They wanted to include me. And I was like, I've got it. I will build a mobile haunted house, and we will bring it there and set it up, and we will run it, and then we'll tear it down, and we will...
Yeah, easy peasy.
It sounded like the most fun, which it was really fun. It sounded like so fun and so creative, and I got to add in all this stuff that I love so much. I made this haunted house based around a mask company I used to run several years ago called the Fright Zone. So every room was related to the Fright Zone masks, and as you went through, it went from like a haunted manor into like a creepy kids doll room, and then into like the circus freak carnival era, and then you get into the like hillbilly horror on your way out the exit door.
It was
But-
like a piece, an amalgamation of every, since I've been here, every haunt. Like there was a piece of it.
Yeah, it was
throughout
like,
the whole thing.
you know what it was like when He-Man was real popular. You had Castle Grayskull, you had Snake Mountain, and then you had the Evil Horde Fright Zone, which my mask company and the haunted house were actually named after.
Yeah.
But if you were really rich, if you were really spoiled, you got the Eternia playset. And Eternia playset had mini Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain with this new Lion Head Mountain in the middle. And it was like all of the worlds in one play set. And that's what this haunted house was like. It was like all of the haunted houses in one little play set. And we hand carved and built this facade. It was insane. Working day and night, all day, all night to pull it off. And then we got there at like 7 in the morning. Well, we got there at 7. The tent wasn't set up, so we had to come back at 10. From 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., setting up is like, I mean, it was like rapid fire putting this haunted house together. And then our band, Walid and I are in a band with my wife and our friend
Switch
Ryan.
to Fakey. Check it out online wherever you find online music.
Yeah, Switch to Fakey, got to play. We played at 6 p.m. at the block party, and it was so cool because the haunted house was behind us with the banner, the big Dillinger block party banner up above us, and we're playing, and I was like, it all came together, man. This totally worked. And I think I'm going to die now.
Leading up to it, so there was this movie, there was just the museum, like extra long hours too. Like open late for that extra spooky time. And then on top of that, speaking of the band stuff, we also recorded. We're in the middle of recording right now. I think we just have a couple things to do, and then we're going to have an album out.
Half day.
Yeah.
Full album.
Played the Punk Rock Museum also.
Oh, yeah, we had a show at the Punk Rock Museum 2 days before the block party show.
Yeah.
And also, like, I stopped building the haunted house, went to the Punk Rock Museum, came back, and continued working on the haunted house.
Yeah, just nonstop.
It's been crazy. So that's why I decided amongst all of this that I was going to force myself to stop working 1 to 3 hours every other day. And that will be the Off the Clock podcast. So with the haunted house talk, I just have been, and with October, I've been thinking so much about Halloween and how much Halloween has affected my whole life. And I mean, my life evolves around this silly holiday where you dress up and get candy. And I am a candy-holic. But do you have a favorite memory of Halloween? Like either from when you were a kid all the way up until today? Like what's your favorite memory of Halloween?
I have a first Halloween memory that I remember, and just, I mean, I feel like it's so typical to anybody who's like into all of this, but it's the staying home and getting your costume ready, making it, and then watching like Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein on the TV and Night of the Living Dead and all those old black and white movies, and just that like chill in the air, and you're like getting ready to go trick or treating.
You were basically Tommy Doyle from the movie Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just hanging out at home watching all the old movies in your costume and all. And that's
what costume?
So I made a Jason Voorhees costume, and for some reason I thought that because he's missing an eye, but when I was a kid I was like, he's missing one eye, but he has to have one really prominent eye. So I made like a ping pong ball that like stuck out. It looked really goofy. It didn't look like Jason, but it just had like one big ping pong ball eyeball and like this Jason mask that I made, and that was it.
When I was a kid, I didn't understand. I had never seen Friday the 13th, but I had seen the haunted house character in a hockey mask with a chainsaw. So I used to tell everybody Chainsaw Jason. Chainsaw Jason. I combined Leatherface and Jason.
Whenever he was in a cartoon, it was always Chainsaw Jason. Like, was it the Tiny Toons Adventures?
Yeah.
You know, they pick up that hitchhiker. He's got the hockey mask and a chainsaw.
Yeah, that's like a haunted house. I think that's like a haunted house trope is the chainsaw. So when I was a kid, I was a Jason. I did Chainsaw Jason one year. I was in 5th grade. And I remember I went out in the yard and recorded my dad running his chainsaw on a little tape recorder that I made a cardboard chainsaw out of. And I mounted this tape recorder in it. And I told everybody at school, and I had a pink hockey mask, which I don't really understand the pink hockey mask, but that's what I had. I got it from Toys R Us. It had the 3 holes, and the 2 holes. It was classic.
And
fake.
Mine had the weird stripes.
Oh,
like
the slits.
super cheapy slit mouth thing, and
I mean, yours was dollar store.
Yeah, it was just
Mine was Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Pink though, day glow pink, and this is 93, 92. Anyway, I went to school with that cardboard chainsaw, and I'd play it, and it'd be like me, 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 me. And I'd tell everybody it's a cardboard blade, but there's a real motor in it. And I don't know why. I was like, I'm Chainsaw Jason. I didn't know what I was talking about. But I think about, do you have a favorite Halloween costume that you created as a kid?
As a kid, I mean that one, that Jason costume,
Yeah.
it just looks so weird. And
What's the first costume you remember wearing?
first, I mean, that is like the most prominent Halloween I have in my head, is that one. Later on, I think I like, like at junior high, dressed as like the Crow,
Yeah.
like the trench coat and the electrical tape around the
Yeah, you gotta
arms
do
and all
that.
that. And
My first costume I ever remember was a Dracula. I think it was a Ben Cooper costume because it was like plastic baggy, but I painted my face like Dracula. And it said Dracula on the chest. But I had a Dracula costume, and then I mean, I always would go all out, man. I remember doing in like 7th grade, before Scream came out, I had a ghost face mask. It lives in the museum now. And I did this whole neighborhood called Deerfield. I made my face up like a Terminator, kind of like a rotten Terminator.
yeah,
Did the whole neighborhood, got full sack of candy. Then I put the Scream mask on and went all the way back home. And so I got double. Like, I mean, I have freaking sacks of candy.
that is ingenious. I never, as a kid, would have ever thought like, oh yeah, they don't know who I am. I could have like 3 different costumes and just take it.
You also grew up somewhere where you could go to neighborhoods. I grew up, like, we walked miles. I mean, this was at least a 10-mile night because the houses were a half a mile apart sometimes. And we were just in the middle of the woods in rural Pennsylvania. So I was off of Snow Hill Road at this guy Mike Fisher's house. I don't know what the neighborhood was, but we walked for hours one way and then had to get home. And you want to knock on doors on the way home. So hours back the other way. And but the crazy thing is, back then, even when those houses were half mile apart and across the street from each other, like, that was the thing. You couldn't go down one side and then the other because you'd only hit 7 houses or something,
Yeah.
But they all opened their door and they all gave us candy. And it didn't matter that it was in the middle of the woods, midnight. They'd open the door.
That's kind of how Halloween was back then. Like, I don't see people trick-or-treating
In
really anymore.
Boulder City, man. Boulder City is like stepping into a Universal Studios film. Like, it looks like the footage in Hubie Halloween or something. It's you see kids running on the street, and literally these neighborhoods give big full candy bars, like the real deal. Like, Boulder City feels like 1985 Halloween, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of the times, like, the trunk or treat is the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really see. I mean, in Boulder City, I bet, because it's like small town.
Yeah.
But like in Vegas, no way you're gonna see like just a bunch of kids running around in costumes.
When I first moved to Vegas before Boulder, I did up my whole garage with figures, made it. I mean, me and my wife were the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Like, we went all out, and then we had 2 trick or treaters, and I was like, this is not okay. But I would like to segue this conversation into the topic of the evening, which is a little movie that I made called Teddy Told Me To, that we made.
Speaking of Halloween.
And it is, to me, it will forever be my Halloween classic. Like, I was talking about it earlier today, and, there's movies like Trick or Treat or Ernest Scared Stupid or, Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin that are Halloween classics that you have to watch.
Yeah.
And although the world doesn't know about Teddy Told Me To yet, I mean, they're still finding it. I still get emails every day. Oh my gosh, I just saw this movie. I can't believe it. It's awesome. It's so nostalgic. It reminds me of this. It reminds me of that, which is what we made it for. We were not trying to rewrite the world. We were not trying to create the next wave of horror. We were cashing in on a wave that had already happened when we were kids, and we loved it, and we had so much fun.
Like crazy slasher movie, but it's a slasher movie and a Halloween movie.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing because it is a Halloween movie as well as a slasher film.
Yeah.
And we are sitting right now in this set that you speak of, that it wasn't here yesterday. This is the lair of Teddy Told Me To. This is where, in the end scene of the movie, all the murder and mayhem happens, and we see the piles of bodies and all that. I'm sitting right where Drew Marvick's corpse leaned against the wall, and this is it's a very interesting transformation that's happened here. But it's history. It's horror history. And there are elements in here still of the Teddy days when this was the haunted lair of Teddy. And Teddy Told Me To was the first movie I ever directed. I've been doing effects art. I was an effects artist since 99, 2000. And to direct a movie in 2021 or 2022. Was it 2022? 2021.
Yeah, no way it was only 2 years ago.
I don't know. I've
so much been going. It's got to be 2021, right? Right?
I think I started in 2021. We probably finished in 2022 because we didn't shoot it consecutively. We shot the movie.
You got back from Time's Up, so whenever.
Well, Time's Up was over New Year's too, so it might have been 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, right at the beginning of it. Yeah.
So we shot this movie in 2022, and I had never directed a film, and I was on a movie called Time's Up. It was a like a slasher film that was based around New Year's Eve, and I think that's where I got the idea. I was driving home through a snowstorm, and I got this idea. I want to make my own slasher film around my own favorite holiday, and that's when I said, April Fool's Day's been done. Because that is my favorite holiday. But Halloween's been done too. But I just thought, what do we have at our disposal? We have a haunted house. We have haunt actors. We have haunt paraphernalia. We have props and weapons and costumes. And
we were literally sitting in a haunted house, and there was some major alterations being done to the haunt at the time.
Yeah.
And then once that was done, I can't speak of that for legal reasons. But once things came down, we were sitting there like, oh, this is already a set. We got it right here,
And that's when the idea was, let's make Teddy Told Me To, which is a character I created on Face Off, TV show on Sci-Fi Channel. And I thought we should use Teddy because he's already got a fan base. He's already got people know Teddy.
Yeah.
In the end, that didn't really matter because our Teddy is very different from that Teddy. And I don't think that the connection is often made, that they're the same.
But the character itself is also just, it's a lot different than like, let's put a guy. I mean, it's a guy in a mask. Yeah. But it's not a guy in your normal kind of mask. It's the whole character is just, it's weird looking in comparison to like a normal slasher, like it's
And that was one of the things I wanted to do, and we'll talk about this a little bit later when we have some of our cast members here, is I wanted to take it away from the Sci-Fi Channel show a little bit, where that was a show about prosthetics and he was all burned up like Jason Goes to Hell, and he had it was all
like his mask was fused to his face.
So I took it away from that and used the bear mask because the bear mask is creepy, and then put it on top of this gentleman with big burly beard and also a younger guy with big burly beard, and I just thought that helped pull the whole teddy bear thing together. Like they looked like fuzzy. They look fuzzy.
All fuzzy.
He's fuzzy.
He's all fuzzy.
Yeah, he's
fuzzy also
guy.
the only I don't know any other killer that has shants.
Right. Yeah.
He's got shants and his stripy socks. He's not blending in anywhere. He's not like gonna sneak up from the darkness. He's brightly colored and
he looks like a 5-year-old drew him. Like, draw me a horror villain, and then they draw this crazy thing, and
like a kid's imaginary friend that just got real messed up looking.
Yeah, that is what he looks like. And the whole thing was like I didn't want to rewrite the word. I wanted to make Sleepaway Camp Part 2. I wanted to make Halloween 2 and Friday the 13th Part 4 and all these movies that I have so much fun watching is what I wanted in Teddy Told Me To.
all of these are like also like you don't. You're not guessing who the killer is.
No.
Like, you're not going into Halloween 4 being like, oh, who's in that mask there? You know, like it's.
Well, and that's that's that pre-Scream thing. You're not guessing who it is. It's just the guy. It's the guy.
It's not a whodunit. It's like, when is he gonna do it?
Like every Friday the 13th movie starts at a campfire, and they're like, "Let me tell you the legend of Jason."
Yeah,
because he's about to entertain you for the next hour and a half. And same thing with Hatchet. You got Victor Crawley. Oh, it's Victor Crawley, Victor Crawley, Victor Crawley. And then all of a sudden, who is it? It's Victor Crawley.
Let me tell you the story of who's about to murder you in the final 20 minutes of this.
But it is awesome that we were able to complete this film. We shot it during the haunted house hours. We would run our haunted house from 6 to 11 p.m. or so, and then we would shoot the movie from midnight to 3 or 4 in the morning, Fridays and Saturdays, and over most of the month of October. But then also, like, when random people like Felissa Rose and Trent Haga showed up in town, we shot their scenes. And when we could get a hold of Lisa Wilcox or C.J. Graham came in for Days of the Dead, we shot his scenes. We have a lot of horror icons in this movie.
Yeah.
Lisa Wilcox from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and 5. We have C.J. Graham from Friday the 13th Part 6. Warrington Gillette from Friday the 13th Part 2.
We got a couple of Jasons in there.
Yeah, I mean, 2 Jasons in one
Jasons.
movie. And one of them gets killed.
Yeah.
One of them gets killed brutally and by Teddy. That means Teddy's more badass than Jason. I'm just saying. But
the other Jason is just like kind of a sweetheart in it.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
just like, hey guys.
And then we even got some, like, one of my favorite cameos was Papa Shango, who may or may not know he's in the movie. We were working on another movie here at the shop, and we just got some shots of him.
Yeah, just happen to have a wild Papa Shango on the loose, and like, yeah, film him real quick.
Yeah, let's get a shot. And but it's been such a cool thing. I was able to finish the film. On
top of that, we're also doing stuff for Bermuda Island.
Yeah, we were
in the middle of it,
working on Bermuda Island.
Yeah,
and the ability to complete a feature film for anybody who's not done it, it takes a ton of work. Like, once you're shooting, it's half of it, but maybe not even half, like 15%. And then you go into post sound, editing, color correction, titles, sound design, soundtrack, music rights, which we've battled on and off with in our tenure here in Plan 10 Pictures. But, it's just been, there's so much to it to actually release it. And then I think a year later from wrapping it, we got it out and premiered it at the Sin City Horror Festival.
Yeah.
We won Best Kill at the Sin City Horror Film Festival. And then that day kicked off a road trip that I went straight to Massachusetts and started a tour.
You left the movie theater, got in the van, and drove away.
Drove away to Massachusetts to show it in Salem, Massachusetts, and then up to Maine, Pennsylvania, Indiana, St. Louis. Like, I'm all over we showed it in Naperville, right outside Chicago. I mean, Texas, Arizona, all over the place. 13 theaters in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And man, I wish we would have made a behind the scenes of just that trip, because it was incredible. But to see all these people, strangers and non-strangers, enjoy our film, we ended that tour in Los Angeles to a packed theater. And it was incredible, man. And then the movie came out on Tubi, and it's gaining fans every day. Every day I get messages about people that are finding Teddy Told Me To and reviewing Teddy Told Me To, or doing reaction video. And every one of them has the same thing to say. They're like, this is fun. This is exciting. This is wonderful.
Yeah, because it's not going to get, like, right away people watch. I mean, when you see like a big horror movie out, almost the same amount that they put into the budget goes into the marketing, so people know about it.
And we are guerrilla.
It's crazy that just through word of mouth and getting, just going out and then talking about it here and there and things like that, and more and more people, and that's the longevity of the movie lasting is going to be there.
When we were making this movie, we were having a signing here at the Monster Museum with John Mazzari, and he's the composer from Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And then he came over after the signing and saw us all shooting this movie and killing off a couple, the Grim Life, who are also YouTubers. We killed them off. They were the first thing we shot in the movie.
Yeah.
And before there was even a finished script, I think we killed the Grim Life. And John Mazzari saw this and he said, I want to be involved with what you guys are doing. I want to write some music. And I was like, cool. Yeah, have at it. You know, I took him aside. I was like, we don't have any money, but if you want to help us out, yeah, I'll take a piece of music or whatever. I thought he would write like a theme for Teddy or something. He scored the entire film. And that was insane. To have that level of talent just offers services and want to be part of it. It really boosted the morale of the set. But that's the same thing with CJ Graham. He's like, I want to come out and play, you know, and it's like, we got Jason Voorhees in there. And that there's so many cool things with Teddy. Everybody could see the heart that it had while we were making it. But
remember, when Trent Haga was there, he was sitting there like watching the whole thing come together, and just a lot of like, it's really cool seeing like everyone working together.
This
and,
is
like,
why we make movies, you know, because we all work on movies, but sometimes it becomes work, and Teddy wasn't work. It was a lot of fun. You took care of a lot of the songs in Teddy, the opening theme song and the cool parody of Elvira's cool parody of the Everybody's Haunting for the Weekend kind of thing.
With the chainsaw fight, all those guys, and that was cool. Writing the song, we even recorded the song in the middle of the haunt too, which is cool. So it's got that room sound of the haunted house in it. And
you also got blatantly bludgeoned and beaten to death as an extra.
I did.
How was that?
I got hit in the head with a hammer a lot.
Did it hurt?
It did.
Oh.
It did.
Oh.
It did. Instead of just like, hey, maybe react a little more to this in your first time directing. It was, I'll just keep hitting him harder in the head until he moves on his own. You know, you've learned to use your words since.
Yeah.
But that was something.
It's one of my favorites. Teddy wasn't the first movie that you worked on, but it was the first movie that we made together, that we actually got together. We did script reads. We did, you know, we really figured this out together.
Out plot stuff and everything. Yeah, it was like
it was like ours.
It was a big deal. There was something that like lit up in you. You're like, I've been doing all these other movies. I could be doing one myself.
Yeah.
And
the gang all came in and you know, Kayla got drafted to produce her first film, and you were the right hand whipping boy for whenever I needed something of any sort. You were there, and you know, whether that was pulling off effects, if it was you did a lot of second unit directing, you did you know, you had a lot of storyboards and shots planned, and you know, we were in this together.
At one point, like you wanted Lola to direct it, and she was like, "Nah, you should do it."
My wife is a pretty great director, and she's done a lot of movies, and she did not want to direct this movie, and I thought it was a great comeback, like a great return to form, but she did not want to do it.
I mean, you did, but I think that she probably saw the obvious thing that what this movie was, which at one point then you're like, okay, well, you direct it or we'll direct it together. I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. And then like a few days into it is like, this isn't, I mean, she saw it ahead of time. This was your movie to direct. It was your character.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, this is you wanting to direct and trying to have like a buffer with somebody else in the process of it, like just case or
I have a thing where I really get off on giving other people their dream. Like that's their dream. I want to make it happen. And My dream was never to direct movies, but my wife's was. She went to film school. She went to USC, and she wanted to direct movies. When I met you, you had wanted to make movies right out of high school. You told me you tried to get an effects guy that we know, and you wanted to make movies.
Yeah.
So when I had the idea of making this, and Lola wanted nothing to do with directing it, and she did tell me, it's your story, you tell it. I've often thought about this. Was it out of insecurity that I needed like a security blanket, or was I just trying to give that opportunity away to somebody who really, is into it? It's kind of like, I love motorcycles. I absolutely love motorcycles. But if somebody gifted me a Moto Guzzi, or if I won a Moto Guzzi, I would probably get that bike to somebody else that cares about it, because I don't care about a Moto Guzzi.
I don't know what a Moto Guzzi is, but it doesn't sound like a motorcycle to me.
It's an Italian motorcycle, and
that makes more sense.
Very sought after, but not for me. It's not my type. But
that name is like very.
But that's kind
looks
of how,
more like a Dr. Seuss thing in my head.
It's kind of how how I feel about directing at the time. Now I say at the time because I will tell you, on day one, roll camera, sound, action. I got invigorated with electricity. Like, it went from my knees up through. I was like, this is the greatest form of art for any control freak. I am the leader. I am the boss. I am in charge of everybody.
See, but the thing is, you like to give everybody a gift, right?
Yeah.
And make dreams happen. But also, there was at some point where you had found like this box of old videotapes and stuff like that, and we're hanging out at your house, and you're like, check this out. This is some weird like movie I made when I was a kid on a camcorder. And it's like, if you're a kid with a camcorder trying to make a monster movie, you want to make a monster movie.
You're not wrong. And so, because I've reflected a lot about this, because I am now a director. I mean, I've directed, I don't even know how many movies, like upwards of 8 or 9. I don't know how many films. I'd have to like think about it. But I've become a director in the last 2.5, 3 years.
2 years.
Yes, I love it. I'm obsessed with it. And that's, I hyper fixate on things that I love. And with Teddy told me to, I found that love for directing. And I kept saying, I never wanted to be a director. I never wanted to be a director.
You just didn't remember that you wanted to be a director. Because you did.
I did. At one point, I wanted to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
I wanted to be an effects artist, actor, director. I wanted to be Tom Savini. Tom Savini is a director, stuntman, actor, and effects guy. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to do it all when I was a kid. But that went away when when you get out of high school and you're like, you have to choose your path. You got to, Operation Ivy says it, right? Like, as if you're not going to change your mind, And
when I was younger, I thought that's what you had to do to make a movie. I thought it was like, okay, if you're going to make a horror movie, you have to figure out how you're going to make the kills, and you have to figure out how you're going to do this, and just figure out everything all at once, and become so like daunting.
Yeah.
And
so, I am now a director. Yay!
Yeah.
I love it, and I love it.
Cheer.
It's
sounds.
I will always be known for being an effects artist. I think that I left my mark on the world in effects artist, and I'm not ever going to say that I won't do it. If the right project comes, I love to do effects work. But my focus is leaving my mark as a director. I would like to be known as filmmaker Tom Devlin rather than makeup effects artist Tom Devlin. And that's I can say the Film Threat called me the B-movie baron of the Nevada desert. So I'm on my way, and part of that is the tireless work that we do day in, day out. And I say we because all of my friends help me. This isn't a solo act.
There was another review that I don't remember what it was from, but there was just one line in it where it was all like, I see what you're doing. Like, they wrote that in there, like, I see what you're doing.
Well, I think that was about Teddy and the gratuitous nudity and the humor and the outlandish kills.
Yeah, they were like, it's like a low budget, whatever, but they're like,
yeah,
okay, we get it. We get what's happening.
And so finishing the production, touring the movie, getting it out on Tubi, finding fans, I just think that this is a film that has legs, and if we can get the world to see it, and as the world sees it, we will hear that Teddy Told Me To becomes a Halloween type movie. You know, like a movie that you watch around Halloween because it's spooky and it's fun, and
there's pumpkins and costumes and screaming and haunted houses
and the haunted house actor auditions. I remember before we made the movie, I made you watch Dark Walker. I was like, we got to watch Dark Walker because they have haunted house auditions and they have a killer in a haunted house. And I love Dark Walker. Danny Draven and Chuck Williams made Dark Walker, and I'm just such a big fan of that movie. I remember a long time ago asking Danny if we could make a sequel to Dark Walker when, you know, as an effects artist, have him direct it. And he said, man, you don't want to do that. Just make a new movie.
Like even he's like, why?
But
why are you going to do this?
I love Dark Walker. But that's the kind of movie I wanted to make with Teddy. And I think that one of our luckiest things that happened, we had a really good cinematographer, Gary Arona, worked on Teddy. And then Topher, our lead actor, owned a Blackmagic, which is a cool camera that I had never experienced or seen before. And then on the days Gary couldn't make it, Topher would roll his Blackmagic. Man, did it look easy and fun. And that camera didn't seem... I just remember thinking, like, that camera's awesome. And it seems attainable. Like, you can buy the body without any lenses for like $2,200. And so I was like... I remember we shot on a weekend after the movie. We had Butch Patrick coming to the show, to the shop, and we wanted to shoot some footage, and Topher couldn't be there. So then he's like, oh yeah, Lola can run the camera. So Lola picked up the Blackmagic, and
it's just it functions like an SLR, like
it was so cool that I just went out and bought one, and that's really helped the Plan 10 films that we make just escalate, because this camera is so user friendly, but also like with the right person behind it. Like we use Corey Clear is our DP. When he is behind that camera and with his eye for photography, he makes the most beautiful images come out of this camera that and I think I never would have known about that camera if it weren't for Teddy Told Me To. I had just never heard of the company or worked with it. And I was always a big fan of both the Canon and Panasonic cameras.
The price point of the Blackmagic, which shoots now, is it 4K or 8K?
We have a 6K.
6K.
Yeah.
So 6K, under 3,000. Back when I was like, okay, the only budget I'm going to need to make a movie is I'm going to pay for a camera. And I had watched 28 Days Later with the commentary or whatever, and they talked about the camera they use, which is actually that one sitting right there.
That's it.
That's the camera. And in 2003 or so, that was $3,000. That was the same price as the Blackmagic now.
Yeah, that's a Canon XL1S, and that was a camera I wanted my whole life.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting it when it was completely obsolete, but it doesn't matter. It looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, is it obsolete?
It completely obsolete. Yeah.
Yeah, but it had that like film grain kind of thing, but it wasn't like a film grain. It had a grain because it was not a higher enough resolution.
Enough resolution. You blew it up too big.
Yeah, it's a grain by default.
Yeah. But
But
no, I was a camera junkie as a kid, and that goes right back to what do you mean you didn't want to be a director? I always had to have the top of the line video camera since I was a child. Like I loved making home movies, and I remember I had Web TV. I don't know if you remember what Web TV is.
Oh yeah.
I had Web TV, and I made a site called backyardmovies.com. And it was like movies that you make in your backyard, you know.
Yeah.
And but I absolutely loved the camera technology, but then at some point in my adult life, the technology surpassed me. Like I'm not familiar with current things to do with the cameras. Once they went digital, complete digital, I really have no idea. I was a tape guy.
They changed shape, really.
Yeah.
Is what they did. They went from like having to hold a tape, and then they morphed sideways into this like photo camera shape.
Yeah.
Where like, yeah, that one, and plus the way you hold it, the way you film it, it's this, you know, and you're looking through it.
Like a camera. Like a film camera.
Like a film camera.
But I think they're coming back. I think it's coming back. Like if you see the new Blackmagic Ursa, maybe it's not new, but the Blackmagic Ursa is very much a film camera.
Yeah.
a big heavy body, and I think they're coming back.
There's something to it. You can move better. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have rigs and stuff that we use, but
Yeah.
But staying on the Halloween topic, and Teddy told me to.
Yeah.
And first,
Not being on a camera talk.
yeah, camera talk with Tom and Walid,
Yeah.
where buddies just talk about cameras, and neither of us know shit about them.
Just talk about old cameras that are obsolete now. Like, oh, remember the Canon SD 8000 camcorder?
GL1, baby, GL1. The GL1
I just
could
found
do
my-
stop motion function on the camera.
I just found my little Canon camcorder. I went on Amazon to see if I could find a battery, and nothing. It's gone.
So
Back to Halloween. Anyway.
back to Halloween. This is Halloween.
This is Halloween.
Being absorbed in Halloween, your whole world. Do you like it less? Like, are you less impressed with jack-o'-lanterns and spooky ghosts and sexy costumes?
As I get older, I look forward to Thanksgiving more. And I feel like because that has more of the, there's a feeling to Halloween. And I say that now, but I bet tomorrow, as soon as I wake up, I'm going to, because it's already cooler in the air. There's like a feeling to it.
It hits you.
Yeah, it's like a calming, everything's more quiet, and I don't know. There's something to it, which now Thanksgiving is sort of like that because everybody gets to stay at home and eat food and chill on the couch.
I can kind of say that the moment on Saturday the 26th, we did this block party haunted house. We tore it down afterwards. Got home at 4 a.m. Halloween's over.
It was.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. I mean, that was so much work, and it was so much fun, but exhausting. And I'm done. And I'm ready for Christmas. I'm ready for Thanksgiving. I'm ready for, the next thing.
Yeah.
But there's something about the Halloween culture that never goes away for me because I run a monster museum and I make scary movies, and I'll never not love the idea and the imagery of Halloween, but I don't always partake as much as I used to.
Yeah, I mean, I remember every year I used to wear a costume or something like that. I'm not doing that.
Well,
it's a lot of work.
Sometimes you have to. Well, we do it in February too. We do
February.
We have a big Halloween party in February. So
that's fun. Halloween became a year-round thing now.
Yeah.
A lot of people
it's
Halloween is a way of
lifestyle.
life.
It's a lifestyle.
It's not a costume. It's a way of life.
I think that's true. Well, I'm going to wrap this up with Walid on Teddy Told Me To, and I'm going to bring in our next guest. But do you have anything else that sticks out to you with Teddy that you can, that you think about, or when you're scrolling and you see it, or you catch it? We watch it at the Monster Museum a lot. So, is there ever a certain memory that's well, holy shit, that's pretty cool?
Just the whole experience of getting to be a part and make a movie, the entire making Teddy Told Me To, it had that same feeling you have as a kid on Halloween. It did. It was just and people running around, this carnival sort of aspect to it. Just the entire filmmaking process was fun, and seeing it and seeing everybody, all of our friends and everything like that in this movie that's gonna be there forever is really cool to see.
It really is like a timestamp of a moment here at the Monster Museum and the Fright Zone.
Yeah, and to say it less bumblingly and roundabout, I can't pick out just one moment of that movie. The whole thing was great.
Awesome. So yeah, that was awesome. That's Walid on this. If you guys continue to watch Tom Devlin's Off the Clock, you're going to see a lot more of that guy. He's my partner in crime. He's my buddy. He's always around. Artistic genius when it comes to music, painting, drawing. He's really great at creating. And so Walid will be here often, and we'll have conversations when we can. All right. Well, I'm gonna bring in our next guest. So, Walid,
Can we do a weird warp thing where I disappear horribly and then they're suddenly right here?
Yeah. Ready? Guys, I'm back. Tom Devlin's off the clock with Kayla. Kayla, I don't ever allow off the clock. You kind
What
of
does that even mean off the clock?
That means we're not working. We're just
okay.
This is not work. We're just hanging out.
We're just hanging out.
We're just hanging out now. Yeah. So I get to hang out with my friends for 1 to 3 hours every couple days a week, and that's what off the clock's all about. And I'm so glad to have you here.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. We were talking earlier. Is it weird that this is the kill room from Teddy Told Me To?
Yeah, it's strange to think about that.
That we're in the lair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even know.
Jason Wallace was talking about, he's like, oh yeah, and then when we were at the end scene and when he gets stabbed and I was hiding off camera with the slate, and I said, that was right there.
He didn't realize.
And then he was like, you're right, this is the kill room. So it's kind of cool. And now it's the hangout.
Yeah, it's our little clubhouse now.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, Kayla is my right-hand guy, not right-hand guy. She's my right-hand girl, and she helps me with everything that I do. She produces the movies, and she runs the Monster Museum. She's my tour buddy on the Teddy tour.
We went on tour.
And we have done a lot of crazy things together. We met a long time ago working at a makeup school, and I remember when we worked at the makeup school, I was like, hey, I'm going to start an ATV tour company. Do you want to come work for me? And you were like, I don't know.
Maybe.
And I was like, what would it take? Give me a number. And I was all, when I get an idea, I'm like, I'm doing this. We're doing it.
I didn't know that about you then. Like, that when you have an idea, that means that's going to happen. So I was just like, this guy's not going to open an ATV business.
Well, we built a website and we were gonna. I don't know what happened. I think we didn't have enough money to get the actual ATVs. Something happened. I bought a van to haul the ATVs, and the van blew a head gasket. That's exactly what happened. So we didn't have a way to haul the ATVs, and we never ended up getting them. But so years later, I hit Kayla up and I said, "Hey, man." Not that she's a man, but I was like, hey man, what are you doing with your life? And do you want to come work at this monster museum I built? And she said yes.
Yeah, it was like one of those, it was like New Year's Eve, and it was like one of those years I was like, I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to change my life. And then like you text me and I was like, it's happening.
It did. And it did.
It happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
My life completely changed.
And and now we're doing what we do.
Yeah, we're on a podcast.
Yeah, we're on a podcast. Just hanging out as friends.
Hanging out.
Off clock.
Off the clock.
Yeah. Although technically I think you're getting paid right now.
Technically, I guess.
One of the only. So we have been talking about Halloween, mostly Halloween, and Teddy Told Me To, because this is our first episode and it is airing on Halloween. So what is your favorite or earliest memory of Halloween?
I used to love going trick-or-treating with my brother and sister when I was really little. I just remember my brother and sister, we would get all dressed up. And
do you have a specific costume you remember?
I always dressed up as like a 50s, like I loved I Love Lucy, so like I had a poodle skirt every year, and I actually wore the poodle skirt like every day when I was a kid. But it was like a hand-me-down. My mom made it for my sister, and then I started wearing it, and then I wore that one out, so my mom had to make a new one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So just 50s girl. Like,
yeah, it was just, I had
like extra on grease.
Yeah.
Like Patty Sucock's friend.
It was like the big poodle skirt and the saddle shoes, and like I'd had like a K on my shirt.
Okay.
Laverne and Shirley kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And what is a favorite Halloween memory? Like, do you have a favorite, like, I don't know, teenage party, adult costume, just a memory that stands out that's like, Halloween's pretty awesome?
I mean, I have, not one that like stands out.
Okay.
Completely. I mean, I would hang out and do fun stuff with my friends on Halloween, but nothing like crazy pops up like.
I used to have these mega Halloween parties when I was a kid.
That.
Like, I had Halloween parties that were legendary when I was in high school. We lived in the middle of absolutely nowhere, and I would put a big stereo up on the roof and play Halloween by the Misfits. You could hear it from miles, like literally 3 miles away. You could hear the echo of our party. But we didn't have neighbors. We lived in the middle of the woods,
middle of nowhere.
and but we'd get like 200 kids out there and have bands. We had like one year we had 3 different bands playing, and
Yeah, my life wasn't that fun.
the crazy thing is there was no debauchery. There was no
Oh, really?
absolutely
Like
no
teenage.
because I don't drink, and I
Yeah.
never did. So even back then, I didn't allow alcohol at the parties, but we didn't need it because I had like horror movie station, haunted yard station, costume contest, bobbing for apples, bands in the basement.
That's fun, though.
Like we made enough events that you didn't need to be drinking.
Yeah.
I was an oddly sober human my whole life, and but my friends weren't, but they still came out because like my party
still a good
was
time.
it was like the best time, and they did all wear costume. You weren't allowed in if you didn't wear a costume, and we continued that tradition. Me and my wife, in when we lived in LA, we had a big warehouse, and we would do a huge Halloween party, like 200, 300 deep. And if you didn't have a costume, you weren't allowed in. And these are grown adults, but it was awesome. Those ones we did allow drinking, and there was some issues because of it. Like people
Yeah.
puked, and
It's messy.
only one bathroom.
Oh gosh.
It was rough. But still, we had a great time. Lots of great photos and memories of those Halloween parties. And I was talking to Walid earlier. Halloween has consumed my every day and my whole life. It's a lifestyle now. It's not just a
Yes.
holiday. So it's been wild, but I wouldn't say the love of Halloween has died. It's the specialness has died.
Yeah, I
off.
can see that.
Like when we build these haunts, like what we just did, as soon as it's over, I'm done.
Yeah, I felt like Halloween this year was done after the block party. Like when I came to work on Monday, I was like, "Oh, it's still October." I mischecked out as spooky season.
Yeah. And we usually run the haunt all through October,
Yeah, so
but
that was different this year too.
stepping into a world where you had to be involved with the Monster Museum and the haunted houses, how did that translate to your normal life? Like, you weren't an overly spooky human.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
wasn't overly spooky at all. I never really went to a bunch of haunted. I think I can think of like maybe 2 haunted houses I had been to. But it's been fun. I've learned so much. But now all my friends think I'm the spooky friend, and I'm still not really. I get introduced to people as my spooky friend.
You're like,
I'm
but
like,
I can
my
sell.
house looks like a genie bottle.
I can sell tickets really well.
I
Though.
do so good. I can wear a cape and
So, kind of like getting thrown into the haunted house. I mean, right around the same time you got thrown into the haunts, we made Teddy Told Me To was our second year of
our second year, yeah.
So you had done the haunted house the year before, and then we
Yeah.
built the haunted house for
The Friend
Teddy,
Zone.
and then I got the wild hair that we're gonna make this movie.
Yay.
So what was your introduction? How do you recall Teddy coming up?
I just remember we were having like our Tuesday meeting or something, and you had just said, "We're going to make Teddy Told Me To, and you're going to produce it." And I always just go down with the flow, I didn't really know what that meant exactly, but, you explained to me what a line producer was and all of that, and we just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And were you apprehensive at all?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
Was there ever a moment you didn't want to be a producer?
no. Like, doing Teddy?
Yeah.
No.
Since?
No. I'm just kidding.
I don't believe you.
No, Teddy was a lot of fun. But I don't think I really fully understood what I was doing at the time. Because, like, now it's more like I scheduled it all and had everyone here and did it all. But I don't think it really clicked in my head what I was really doing was producing. Like, I just felt like, I don't know.
I mean, you've really become an actual producer now. Like, now you break...
and looking back at everything I do now for a film before, like, looking at Teddy, like, I was
You
just
didn't
kind
do
of
the-
hanging out.
Yeah, there was the pre-production and the script notes and the...
Yeah, that was just...
The interesting thing about the Plan 10 universe, what we do, is you are the line producer, but you're also the AD and you're also the script supervisor.
Yeah.
Our crew is so small of only like 7 to 9 people that we combine jobs. So you are the script supervisor, the AD, and the line producer first and foremost. I mean, you take care of all the logistics, the scheduling, but also breaking down the script, and also, you do it all. But before Teddy, you had no.
I had never worked on, never even been on a movie set. Never even really thought about going in that direction.
So, getting thrown to the wolves as being a career in film. I say a career. It is. I mean, like, honestly, I don't know a lot of people that have produced 8 or 9 movies. I don't even know how many anymore.
Yeah, I don't
But
think we're at
Teddy
9 or 10.
Teddy told me to. Las Vegas Frankenstein, Nameless. Slaughterhouse on the Hill.
After Dark.
After Dark. Slaughterhouse After Dark. Gacy.
Walid's movie.
Oh, It Steals Your Skin.
It Steals Your Skin. And then we
And-
just did Bloody Bluff.
So that's 8.
8. I feel like we're missing one. That's all of them.
Oh, Laughterface.
Laughterface.
9.
9.
You've produced 9 feature films.
That's crazy to think about, though.
Yeah. And now you do it second nature. Like, you know how to use the programs and stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
Sometimes there's a typo.
Sometimes.
But
My spelling's not great.
but when we did Teddy, it was a lot different.
It was
beca-
completely different, yeah.
It was just kind of like,
We didn't even have...
we almost had mandatory cast arrival because we were shooting our haunted house actors.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of scheduling when it came to Teddy because it was just wrap the haunted house and then everyone... It was the clown scene or it was Eric Hart's scene and they would just stay behind.
Yeah. But I just more used you as an assistant, like
kind
a
of
liaison.
Just the person that got...
So I didn't have to answer my phone.
Yeah.
Which I still don't ever want to answer my phone.
No.
And we spread Teddy told me to out so far over like the shooting dates were not, it wasn't just a 6-day shoot or a 12-day shoot.
Yeah, because we started back in March. Was it March when Days of the Dead? And that's when we did like CJ Graham and Felissa and Trent stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was in October.
Yeah.
Actually did.
Yeah. Okay. I thought we ended with Warrington, but we didn't end with Warrington. That was the end of the first shoot. That wasn't the end of the movie.
No, yeah, because we did all the cameos and the flashback first.
Yeah,
they were all
we
in
actually
Conquer Days of the Dead.
ended with you when you got hit in the face with the bat, because what people don't know is that when Kamara Zoe's character gets killed in the end of the movie, it's actually Kayla.
It's me.
Yeah, Kayla with a wig on got smashed in the face with a bat.
Yeah, just right over there.
Yeah, and but that was that's another fun thing about you being in these movies. You get to act in them.
Yeah, I'm in them. Acting, I don't think is the right word.
I always try to get you to be in the movies, but you're always apprehensive. Why is that?
I just don't like to be on camera.
Why not?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm on camera now, so.
But we're off the clock.
We're off the clock, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, we're not working. We're just hanging out.
Yeah. I make fun cameos in most of them, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've escaped Bloody Bluff so far.
Yeah.
Well, your hands are in it. You get a hand cameo in it.
I do have a lot of hand cameos.
You do hand cameos in a lot of them.
because I have in Slaughterhouse, too.
Yeah.
I'm Kiki's arm.
I think in the After Dark. Do you have a hand cameo in the After Dark?
I might.
I don't remember. But
I make a lot of cameos in the After Dark.
so when I was telling these other guys that I believe Teddy told me to should be considered a Halloween movie or a Halloween classic.
Oh, yeah.
You've been working the Monster Museum all October and you've been playing it. Do you catch people watching it, or with the special features to play in the theater? Do you ever have customers mentioning Teddy told me to or anything about it?
Oh, all the time. The customers come out, especially after watching the behind the scenes stuff. They come out and they recognize me or Walid or You'll Be There, and they get really excited and they'll ask a lot of questions. And
Yeah.
Are there? And people will sit in the gift shop and just watch it. Especially like if it's the end and they'll ask me what movie it is. That was just happened yesterday.
And then
what is this?
And then you're like, "That's me. I just got hit in the face with that bat."
That's me. Yeah, exactly. I died too
As yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
get
get
strangled. Yeah.
Good screamer. Got good lungs. You just belt it out. Scream Queen, Kayla Bichelle.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah, we could do that. We can make that happen.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we could.
But
We'll leave that to Ashley.
Ashley's a good screamer. So, do you have any distinctive memories from Teddy, or things that like when you think about Teddy told me to, that pop to mind? Like, what do you think about when you think about the fact that we made that movie and it's in the ethos and people can watch it.
It's still crazy since it is my first movie that and it's the one I think's probably been watched the most and people recognize it. So it's crazy to have made something that people will come into the store and be like, oh, I know this. I watched this on Tubi the other day, and it's still weird to think, oh, I worked on that. I did that.
Yeah.
I helped with that. But that's true, I guess, of all of them. But
what was it like going to your first premiere? Being at your first sold out premiere?
Oh, yeah, the Sin City Horror Fest. That was a lot of fun. It was crazy because it was so full. And you just take it in. Like, every stop of the tour, I just remember thinking, like, take this moment in of everyone watching you. Like, we would do the Q&As, and I'd look out, and I'd be like, man, this is like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Like, not no one does this. Like, but it is crazy to be in a room full of people watching something that you worked on and loved so much, and then you get the reactions, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, I can say we showed it at the Sin City Horror Fest, and sold out crowd. And then immediately you and I got in a van. And we drove to some gas station to try to go to the bathroom. What happened there, Kayla?
That's your story.
Kayla, what happened at the gas station?
With that girl in the romper.
Yeah.
There was no bathroom in this. Was that what it was?
Yeah, they wouldn't let us use the bathroom that was at the gas station.
Yeah.
So I went around the back of the gas station to relieve myself. But there was two girls back there trying to relieve themselves as well. But one of them was wearing like a full, from neck to her toe bodysuit. And she had to take the whole thing off. She was naked. She was naked peeing in an alley.
That's how we started the tour. That's when you knew it was going to be a wild trip.
It was a wild trip.
Like, it started off crazy.
Yeah.
And it was.
I think we drove all the way mid-Utah that first day. And then...
yeah.
And then straight on.
We drove until, like, what, 4 a.m. or something
Something like
crazy?
that. And we went to Salem, Massachusetts.
That was our first stop.
First stop was Salem. And now I was telling Jason earlier, like, we had submitted to a lot of film festivals and got turned down by all of them. And then Sin City went well. And I was like, oh, my God, they do like it. Like, because I thought just nobody liked the movie, you know.
Exactly.
And then I was like, oh, they like it. And then we're driving all the way to Salem, Massachusetts. We get in really late. And Marshall, the guy who owned the theater,
he offered us to stay at his house.
Said we could stay in his mansion. He gave us the whole 3rd floor of like a 11-bedroom mansion. And he's like, I'm up late. It's not a problem. I was like, we're dealing with a werewolf.
We totally thought we were going to, he was a werewolf.
And he looked like a werewolf. He looked like the dad on Teen Wolf, like a nice werewolf. And Marshall let us stay in his house.
Yeah.
And then we showed that movie at the Salem Cinema, and it went over great. Yeah. Everybody loved it.
That was
and I was like, this is awesome. They do like people actually, because those people we didn't know. We knew a couple, but we didn't know all of them. We had Topher and Kamara, our leads, showed up, and then also we had Damien Maffei from Haunt showed up, and my best friend Dave.
Yeah, Dave was at that show.
Dave Corsilli showed up, and I remember, gave me the best advice. He's a rock star, and he said, when you guys play this movie, no matter where you are, how many people are there, you get up there and you give the Q&A like you're talking to 100 people or 10 people. It doesn't matter. You know, he's like, you play every show like it's a packed theater. And for the most part, we had packed theaters everywhere except for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was 3 people.
But it was like the best Q&A because they had so many questions.
Yeah.
And it was like so intimate with that.
And one of them,
got to sit in the balcony, though. That was cool.
One of them was the cinematographer from The Barn, which was a movie I'm familiar with.
Right.
And and I didn't know him. And I thought that was cool. And then Iana, who's a friend of mine, was there. But we sat in that balcony in the big 300-seat theater. It's just empty watching our movie. And it was still fun.
It was still a lot of fun.
It was. I remember we tried to get those cops to come.
Oh, yeah, because we got in trouble for, what was it, the Denny's parking lot?
Yeah, we were sleeping
in the Denny's parking lot.
And then they knocked on the door and we tried to get them to come. But what was your favorite stop on the Teddy tour?
I think the Dallas one was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And my parents got to come out and see the movie, which was a lot of fun. And
yeah. That was a packed house, too.
Yeah, that one was packed. Matt joined the tour on that one, and he had a bunch of friends and stuff.
Yeah, he joined the tour, but he kind of just slept.
Yeah, we were at the point when we needed another person. Like we had told each other all the stories, and we were like, Matt will be in the jokes, and then he got too drunk and he
just
hung over for the rest of the tour
until Arizona.
Yeah, I was like, he didn't entertain us. We needed Matt to entertain us.
He slept from Texas to Arizona.
Yeah,
but that's okay.
It was fun. Which one was your favorite?
My favorite, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Yeah, like my hometown was absolutely incredible. Like we pulled into this town that I have not been to in 20 years, and it's like that's where I became a horror fan. That's where I watched all the movies that made me want to make movies, and we were playing at the Pocono Cinema, and just 2 days prior, somebody had sent me a picture of Dante from Clerks with a picture.
With the poster, yeah.
With the poster of Teddy Told Me To, and I was like, this is just so cool. Like,
we posted that, and I think that's when my brother realized his sister was cool.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. But that Pocono Cinema, I had watched a lot of independent films in, like Blair Witch and The Big Lebowski, and to have my movie play there was pretty cool. And my best friend from childhood, his shop was right across the street, and then Frazetta's Fantasy Corner, where I learned about makeup effects, was right next door. And I don't know, there's just something special. I remember we went to like a barbecue the night before with a bonfire with all my old friends showed up out of the woodwork that I hadn't seen, and it was cool. It was kind of like Hometown Hero Came Home.
Yeah,
and
that
then
one was a lot of fun.
When I looked out at that crowd and I could see like my 6th grade girlfriend, Erin, who I mean, like, it was just bizarre that it was like the end of Big Fish, like all these characters from my life. And I was talking about that with the LA screening too, because all my characters from my
it was like
post
a
high school
generation of Tom's life.
Yeah, like that whole tour was pretty crazy. I'll never forget it.
It was so much fun.
But the East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania show was amazing, and got to see a lot of old friends, a lot of people I don't think I ever would have seen again, and that was cool. And they all seemed to like the movie. I had a weird thing about it though, because like I feel like Teddy Told Me To is slightly juvenile. Like I feel like it's the movie that 14-year-old Tom wanted to make. And when I go back to Pennsylvania, where I left when I was 17, 18 years old, I think that of these guys that watch this movie think that I haven't changed.
You're the same person.
I'm just the same guy. But the difference is so vast. Like, I was talking to my friend Jamie the other day, who knew me back then as that fun, crazy human. And I talked about being a control freak and things like that, like how I like everything, how I like it. And she's like, well, that's not the Tommy I know. That I have my version. That's the one that I know through you and Lola. Yeah. Like, because my wife Lola does a lot for me, and I'm very particular about how I do it. And she's great at getting it there. And she did a lot of work on Teddy Told Me To. I mean, she wrote the script. She rewrote the script twice, and she edited a lot of the movie, and she's done a ton of like all sound design and whatnot. But the amount of people that came together to make this movie happen, for us to take it on the road and get to see it, I wish we could have shared that with everyone. Most of them got to see it at the premiere at the Sin City Film Festival, and some got to see it at the LA at the last stop. But it really does take a village, and I take a lot of credit for it. I'm always like, my movie, but it's really our movie. It's all of our movie. And I think that it's, it is the one that people are going to remember. And I think it's time for a sequel.
It is. It's Teddy 2.
Yeah, I think we're getting there. But so
that'll be fun.
With the tour coming to an end, and now Teddy ends up on Tubi, what do you feel like? Have you seen? I get people that tell me all the time they saw it on Tubi. You were saying that you saw that at the museum.
People come in the store all the time.
Is it something that? I mean, I guess the only thing I can think of is like, this is not something that you had dreamt of doing, like a lot of us.
Yeah.
But is there I mean, there's clearly an appreciation for what we have done, but is there a desire to do it again? Like, do you feel like, oh, we made a mark with this, we need to do it again?
Oh,
What
yeah,
is
of
your,
course.
what do you see your future in this weird?
I always get excited for our next projects. Like, it's exciting, to work on the next one and always work, and then you get to see it, the whole process of it. I do love it, and it is just a lot of fun. So I look forward to whatever the next one is.
What was your favorite one thus far?
I have a special spot for Teddy, of course, because it is my first one, and I do love it. But I think that After Dark was just so much fun to make.
Yeah.
But so was Laughter Face too. Like, they all have like a special thing where it's hard to pick just one. But
It's kind of like children.
yeah, I wouldn't know, but I can assume. But yeah, After Dark was fun.
How long have you worked with us now? 5 years?
No,
4 years? 3?
I think it's gonna be 6 years.
6 years.
In January.
6 years in January.
Yeah, because it'll be yeah.
Have you ever worked anywhere else for 6 years?
I don't think so.
Man,
I think I worked at the makeup school for 5 years?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Well,
That was-
we win. We
You
win
win.
1-0. Always win.
we do always win here.
So you've really witnessed, like, I got an idea, we're going to do the idea, and then we're doing the idea.
Yeah, I've witnessed that a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing that right now.
This is it.
This idea came 3 days ago, and here we
built
are.
a set.
Built a
and
set.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
That's how it works.
And you are pretty easy at going with the flow.
Yeah.
When you get home, do you ever, like, question your decisions about that?
Do I ever question my life?
Yeah. Are you like, oh, God.
No, I think it's the opposite. I think I get home and I just realize that I am working a cool place. Like, not everyone, like, my friends work at insurance companies. Like, I'm very grateful to enjoy going to work every day. And it's always something different.
Yeah. It is. Sometimes can be
And you
kind of
can-
wild.
Yeah, I will never can predict what the next day is going to bring, because it could just be, we're going to San Diego to drop off a moose head or a new movie. It's like,
Or we're going to spend 2 days straight building this haunted house.
yeah,
Like, without stopping.
yeah, we're going to do, that was crazy.
Yeah. And with the movies, I mean, like I said, you got thrown into producing and you jumped right to it and never questioned it much. Maybe more out of naivety than anything.
Yeah.
But then you have become, like, efficient and have learned the actual job. You've gone from being a security blanket to, like, an actual tool of the process. Still slight security blanket.
See, I have a hard time calling myself a producer. Like, I don't know. It's a strange thing. Like, if someone was to ask me what I do, I would never be like, oh, I produce movies.
But why?
I don't know. It's a strange thing. Like, I'm always like, oh, I just work for Tom Devlin. Like, I don't know. It'd be hard for me to say those words, like, to a stranger. Like,
But you've
oh,
produced 9 feature films.
I know.
Did Dwayne Whitaker act in Slaughterhouse on the Hill?
He did act.
Did
and-
Shane Sharp do sound on
Yes.
he's a production sound guy on the After Dark?
Yeah.
You produced those movies.
I know.
You know
It's
what I'm
just
saying?
I mean, maybe it's just like I can't wrap my head around it, but it's just a thing of mine.
I mean, do
Like,
you
even
have
when people come in the Monster Museum and they're like, oh, what do you do on the films? I'm like, I help produce them.
But you did produce them.
Yeah,
But do you have 5 binders over there?
I do. I
Does-
have a binder for, yeah.
Each binder has
Is it
each a movie. Yeah. I don't have a binder.
Well,
I never had a binder.
if you want a binder, Tom, I'll get you one for
No,
the
because
next one.
I don't need a binder.
You don't need a binder because I have the
'cause
binder.
You have the binder.
See?
And that's what makes you the producer.
Yeah.
So my thing is there ever a movie job that if I came up with and I was like, we're going to make this, that you would be like, I'm out?
No, I don't think so.
No, not Hookers Go to Space,
No, I
Or
don't think there would ever be a time I'd be
Sharks in
like,
Vegas.
no,
No?
I don't think so.
What if we had to go somewhere really cold, like in the snow?
I think I'd be okay with it.
What if we had to go somewhere really hot?
I mean, we are somewhere really hot, and
Yeah.
we seem to make a movie every summer.
Yeah, that's true. That we've fought the temperatures pretty.
Yeah, we can never make a movie at the right temperature.
What about, how did you enjoy the camping aspect of Bloody Bluff?
I think that I can admit I'm not a camper. Like, I'm not like, let's go camping, but I think it was okay.
I mean, I felt like you camped well.
Yeah.
I did think that you retreated to go to sleep quicker than I had imagined. Like, everybody's at the campfire.
Were long days.
Everybody's at the campfire, and you're like, I'm going to bed.
Because that
You didn't even eat the s'mores.
Well, I don't like marshmallows.
Who? What American does not like marshmallows?
I think a lot of people don't like marshmallows.
I think they're wrong. I think you're wrong. I got marshmallows that were like this big on that.
They were like the world's biggest marshmallows, which...
Where are they?
I wondered this because you put the trailer down and there was food in the trailer.
How much food?
Like, whatever happened to the cooler full of meat? Like lunch meat and stuff?
Oh, it's in my fridge in the garage.
Oh, okay.
But the marshmallows weren't there.
They probably are in the trailer. That'll be like a nice delight when you guys go use the trailer again. Liz will be excited.
Yeah.
There's marshmallows.
Yeah. So camping was tougher for you than you had thought.
I wouldn't say the camping part was tough. I mean, that mountain, though, like, kicked my ass. That was rough.
A lot of people's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was still a good time.
If I asked you to make a movie with us in a submarine.
In the submarine?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I could handle it.
Yeah?
Maybe, yeah.
You don't get claustrophobic?
I do kind of, but
Have you ever been in a submarine?
no.
Oh, okay.
Have you?
Yeah.
I feel like I have as a kid. Like, I went to some,
At Disneyland or something.
Yeah, something.
It's fake, but it's kind of the same.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of something I'd be like, oh, God, Tom, I can't do that.
No. You usually say yes.
I go
to
with the
just-
flow.
You do. You do.
That's like
I can
my
usually
good
tell
trait.
on your face, though, if you want
Yeah,
to be
you've
or
learned
not.
my
Yeah.
tells now.
Yeah.
I used to be able to hide them better, I think.
Yeah. I don't think you
Now you read
care
me
to-
pretty well.
You don't care to hide them anymore.
Well, we're friends now. It's like,
Well,
you know.
I can say that on the Teddy tour, we lived in a van
Mm-hmm.
for 2.5 weeks, and both of us were more comfortable in the van.
Oh, I would have chosen the van every day.
than staying at somebody else's house.
Yeah.
And that was a weird thing because it was a small space, but it was organized enough, and we
had our little cubby things, and
Yep, and it worked. But you never complained about a bathroom, and you never complained about a shower, and you never complained about. You just didn't complain on the tour.
it was just a lot of fun. There wasn't anything to complain about.
Yeah,
I mean,
a lot of people would though. So that led me to believe that you would be great at camping, because it was like camping.
it's just camping's not something like on my top 5 fun things to do.
Definitely on my top 2.
You see, you love
it's
camping.
on my top 2.
I feel like everyone else loved camping, and it was just everyone.
Well, the people that didn't, they went home.
Yeah, they got they
didn't have to.
But it wasn't really like camping. Like, I wasn't in a tent. Like, you had made that sweet trailer for Corey and I, and it was like bunk beds.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Top bunk?
I got the top bunk.
And how was that?
It was nice.
That's good.
I was afraid I was just going to roll over and fall off. It was like a weird sensation up there sometimes in the middle of the night. I move around a lot in my sleep.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't fall off.
That's good. You probably would have died. Or hurt yourself. You probably would have hurt
I just
yourself.
hurt myself and
Yeah.
woken Corey up.
Yeah.
I'm in slumber.
I bet you that Corey wears a sleep mask.
Maybe.
I think-
That's why he wanted to be on the bottom buck. He just wanted to be like tucked in.
Yeah, he has that long hair and he just wears a sleep mask. Probably. We've really strayed away from Halloween, and Teddy told me to.
Yeah.
On Teddy Told Me To, we had a lot of horror celebrity cameos.
Mhm.
And with your not being overly fanboyish, was there any moments with those celebrities? Like, is there anything that sticks out with the celebrities? Because
It was a lot of fun with the celebrities because I was like their transportation
yeah,
to and from the airport. So like Felissa Rose is the best. So it was like gossip time in the car. Like, she's always a good time. So me and her really connected a lot when she was out here filming.
and you knew her from work at the museum.
at the museum. She had done signings before and stuff. So we just got caught up, and that was a good time. And then CJ Graham is always great. would give you some business advice
Yeah.
on the time. He always had some great ideas for the museum or advertising or
He's very successful.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then, did you drive Warrington as well?
Yeah.
How was that?
it's great. He's an interesting guy. I love Warrington. Then.
Warrington talked to you at all about Bloody Social?
A little bit, yeah. You know.
He's got a movie idea. He really wants. He probably wants Kayla to produce it.
Yeah,
is the
maybe.
thing. But
Yeah, we went all had lunch and he talked about his movie.
has anybody ever tried to approach you about producing their film?
You know, I did get a message once on Instagram about a guy. Ashley had referred him, and he said that he had produced, that I had produced the movie she was in, and if I would be interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was your response?
I said I was booked. I work exclusively for Tom Devlin.
You know that you don't have to.
I could, yeah. I don't want to. I'm accustomed to a certain.
Creature comforts.
Yeah.
Well, I always feel like I own people because I kind of have built a little cult, but I don't feel that I don't like if people want to go on their own ways, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Just not when I need them. That's what I'm afraid of. Like, say you go produce for this guy, and then that guy wants you to do something else, but it's on a date that I need you. That's just,
I don't see a scenario where I'd be like, Tom, I gotta go produce this other guy's movie. I just don't. No, I don't think that would ever happen.
what if he was real cute?
I don't think I could do it.
Okay. I appreciate. That's why we keep you around.
Yeah, I am very loyal.
I know. Hey guys, it's Tom Devlin, and thank you for joining me on Off the Clock. I am so stoked to be taking a break from my busy life to sit down with my buddies and talk to them, and I love that you guys get to hear it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and we'll see you next time.